We always remember our first video games. For many people, myself included, we opt to call these childhood games because it's the first games we can remember after gaining sentience in this world. And depending on where someone had their first gaming experience will obviously tell you a lot about that person. If your first gaming experience were on these dinosaurs, how's the grandkids doing, buddy? How's bingo night? Whereas if your first experience was on one of these, I get it, little dude, middle school's tough. In the long line of consoles, I land here, on the Wii, in terms of the first one I had access to. And one of those games I grew up with on that system was Super Smash Bros. Brawl. Yes, think about it for a second, there are people walking the earth who grew up with Brawl as their Smash game. Yeah, I know, when I first realized it, I was like, so that's what's wrong with me. And in Brawl, like every other game in the series, there's quite the roster of goons to pick from, and because I would play the game so much, I had an ample amount of time to get every character in the game, and one of those characters was Sonic. Now imagine from the perspective of a small child what seeing Sonic for the first time would be like, the stark juxtaposition between the cool blue hue to him and the bright red shoes, paired with the spiky exterior, the comically large eyes, the constant shit-eating grin, and on top of all that, he just flips and spins like a souped-up washing machine, runs real fast, and winds up his punches like a total goofball. I didn't play him. He didn't really appeal to me. I was more interested in the funny pink blob and Pikachu. So I knew who Sonic was, but I was always just like, Flash forward X amount of years later, when I was playing on my Nintendo DS, we had access to a lot of games on the DS at pretty much any given moment because we just bought a lot of DS games, that's it. R4. But one day, in my boredom, I booted up a Sonic game. Couldn't tell you which one, cause I don't remember. All I remember is that it was a 2D one, so probably one of the earlier titles that got ported to the DS. Anyways, I got started on the first stage and remember liking it for a bit. A certain satisfaction came from going really fast because you had to build up that speed yourself. It tingles the same part of the brain for me as watching glitchless speedruns where people are just really good at navigating through the levels at high speed. But the one problem with the game I had is that I suck at video games, and when something's satisfying and you can't get that thing to happen, it then becomes not fun, so I dropped the game after like 20 minutes. I have a bunch of miscellaneous stories like this from over the years where I played a title with Sonic in it for a bit at like a friend's house or something, got bored or sucked too much at it and stopped playing. And I understood that people really liked Sonic and had a lot of nostalgia for the really good games in the series that people say were really good for their time and still hold up, like the Sonic Adventure series, but I never played them, so to me, Sonic was that blue guy who goes skiing with Mario. The first time I ever really enjoyed a Sonic title is when I got my hands on Sonic Mania. I played it with a friend because there was technically a co-op, but unfortunately co-op is probably the worst way to play the game. It functions like how Couch Play Spelunky does, where one person has control of the main character and the camera, and the other person has the illusion that they are in control, when in reality they play a role one step above little brother with the unplugged controller. So it's not like I then played this one game and it forever changed my opinion on Sonic, because no, it wasn't too good of an experience, but it was fun enough, and it was the game that opened my eyes to the fact that, damn, video game music can go hard. Running full tilt through a cityscape with dark buildings lit with colorful lights and a film set aesthetic while this absolute bop blares in the background definitely made me like Sonic a bit more. He still wasn't too notable in my mind, but I was definitely more open to playing more Sonic games because of this experience, and play more games I did. As you may or may not know, PlayStation gives out 2 free games each month to people who pay for their online service thing, and one day a Sonic game just so happened to be one of said free games. And we all have that one friend who unironically likes bad games and convinces you to play them too. Long story short, I played Sonic Forces. It was awful. I loved it. This game is an easy contender for the most cheesiest, goofiest, silliest game I've ever played. I didn't think it was a good game. I knew it was a bad game, and that's what kept me playing. When the villain would say some generic bullshit along the lines of, "Mwahaha, I'm evil and I have an evil plan and you'll never stop me," I was there for it. I didn't give a flying fuck about the stakes at hand, but I was there for it, goddammit. And for the next few years, I have consumed nothing but bad Sonic content because Sonic, as I'm sure we all know, has had some flops in the past. Whether it be playing the not best racing game of my damn life or watching videos of other people laughing at the absurdity of some of the Sonic titles, I really enjoy Sonic content. especially if it's not good. In the town I live, there's a really cool little stand in a flea market inside the most dilapidated building in the entire area, and when I was in there with friends once, I was way too damn close to walking out of there with a copy of Sonic Unleashed for the Wii, because I've heard some not good things about the werewolf sections in that game. Part of me regrets not making that purchase, because truth be told, I was, for the first time in my life, craving Sonic content. I've not played the classics that everyone talks about like Sonic Adventure, and I had played games that at its very best people call average like Sonic Forces, but despite it all, I had become a Sonic fan. That itch to play a Sonic game never went away, and so a few months after its release, I purchased Sonic Frontiers, and I still haven't played it yet. I'll talk about it another time, probably in like a month or 5, because of how incredibly fast I work. So yeah, see you then. Unless I don't. Bye.